Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ubuntu Touch Q&A, the UBports Foundation show discussing the development of Ubuntu Touch and our community's questions. This is episode 68, streamed live on January 25th, 2020. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week are Florian.
Hi.
And Marius.
Hey.
Marius.
Hey, sorry. Hello.
We begin this week with a moment of respect for a passionate Ubuntu phone community member. Sergi Quiles Perez has passed away, and Sergi was a wonderful contributor to all of the core apps, a huge driver of UNAV with Costales, and he helped organize UbuCon Europe in 2018 in Gijón, Spain. All those who met him said he was a gentle soul who made all of them better people and touched their lives in a positive way. I never had the pleasure of meeting Sergi, but the outpouring of support that we've seen for him makes me wish that I did. So I think I echo so many others when I say, right here at the beginning, thank you, Sergi, for everything that you did for the community. And we'll see you on the other side. In similar vein this week, I'd like to send a get well soon to a community member who will remain unnamed for now. He knows who he is, and the people who have contact with him know who he is. Please get well soon. Know that we're all thinking about you at UBports, and thank you for everything that you've done for us. We'll see you when you're back. But of course, take all the time you need. Okay, let's begin with some community news this week. First off, let's talk a little bit about the upcoming event of FOSDEM 2020. 5 of us all together will be at FOSDEM on the 1st and 2nd of February. And that is going to be at the ULB Solbosch campus. I think I pronounced that right, in Brussels. We don't have a booth or anything like that. We now see that with 5 people, we would have had enough people for a booth. So we're learning that for next year, that we can probably do a booth if we get our act together and get the stuff in at the correct time. But then watch what's going to happen is no one's going to be available for the weekend. However, KDE has reached out and offered a little bit of space and maybe some hangout time at their booth, as well as Pine64, whose booth will be there only on Sunday. Can't wait to hang out with all of them. But generally, we're all going to be doing the FOSDEM thing, so you'll be able to find Marius, Florian, Notkit, Alfred, and myself walking around, going to talks. There's going to be one talk by Martin of... and I'm really excited for that one. Postmarket and Memo Leste and all sorts of things are going to be in that talk. That's going to be cool. I hope we can get to that one. It is a main stage talk, so I think that room is going to be packed.
Hopefully, not only 20 people, maybe 250 or so would be better. Or
well,
600.
That's in that huge arena as well.
It's 250 is still too few for that big one. Yeah, that's true.
I think it's going to be like the Matrix talk last year, where we're just going to have to get there really early.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is my spot. Do not take it.
Or we do as we do last year, just sit on top of each other.
No. Nope. Not doing that again.
And over there, that's the UBports stack. You can see there's 5 people. They always do it like that. They are saving energy and resources. No, just kidding.
Efficient people.
We will be there by time, and yeah. And what we can see also from groups like our PinePhone group, where all the communities come together now, the interest is spiking currently because the shipping from the PinePhone is happening, and all the communities are totally excited. So I assume the excitement will be also on FOSDEM. We really have some movement here that starts this year. And it's really good.
And there's going to be an extra special piece of swag for anyone who either brings their PinePhone or their receipt of their PinePhone. So remember to do that to the Pine64 booth on Sunday. Hint, hint.
I need to bring mine then.
You're bringing years anyway, Marius.
In case your shipping status is not yet there, hold on. As we read from the community, the shipment really took place. So even if Germany is delayed because they do some extra checking, like always, Germany does extra checking on everything, and maybe Austria too. I don't know. Other countries seem to be more relaxed with that, but yeah. It's a dangerous device. You need to really extra check it a bit. Yeah?
Well, only Germany. Rest of the world don't
Yes.
No, just let it in.
care. It's a phone. What bad can it do?
It can explode.
Flashbacks to Note 7.
Samsung. Well, in my country, they just check on the back. Does it say Samsung? Okay, it's fine.
Oh boy.
And after we completely ruin FOSDEM 2020 for all of its attendees, we're going to ruin Plasma Mobile.
Yes, but just me and Dalton, though. Me and Dalton
Yeah.
are gonna wreck the place up. So watch out, Boshan. We are coming for you guys.
So for the readers and listeners that really don't know what we're talking about, Plasma Mobile is doing a sprint after the FOSDEM in Berlin, and our two guys here will go there and participate in that sprint. And that's a benefit for the cooperation of the communities, for maybe Halium devices, for converging some things between Plasma Mobile and Ubuntu Touch, and so on and so on. So it's not that they are offboarding here and onboarding Plasma Mobile. They stay with UBports and Ubuntu Touch, of course.
Well, of course, the thing is we want to use the same components
Yeah.
to make our own experiences, because if we have all of the base stuff in common, we can all go faster. And that is something
And
that's
we gotta
weird to
go
people
fast.
when they hear it at first, when they aren't really in the open source community. Like, you're gonna help your competition? What's wrong with you? It's like,
The competition.
yeah, but we all go way farther when we
Yes.
do it together.
The leverage is so much higher if everybody cooperates instead of fight against each other.
Yeah.
And we'll come to that also in our question part, I think, because we have a
But-
question today about it, more or less.
But someone in the Linux community didn't get this memo, so we are
There,
going to.
well, everyone's coming around, so everything's gonna be okay.
So yeah, that is definitely what we're gonna do. We're gonna work together with, but we already do, and this is something I don't think many know, but we already do share a lot of the components with KDE Mobile and Sailfish. Like Ophono, for example, is a good example for this, or Telepathy Ophono,
GCF
and
streamed, but yeah.
yeah, and all these components that we use. There is actually a lot when we start thinking about it, and also Halium, which is a joint project we started in the beginning. So yeah, that is where we are going to discuss. And also, we share Qt, so we are Qt together. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Dolphin is
We're in this Qt
gonna
together.
kill me after this.
End stream. Yeah, and I mean, not to beat on the dead horse too much, and it's a very live horse, but the PinePhone is another example of us all working together to make everything better, because one person optimized U-boot, and now we can all use that to boot in 1 second instead of 10 seconds, and things like that. Boot the kernel, that is, not boot the entire operating system, because that would be nuts.
You do boot.
It do boot.
You do boot.
It do boot.
Yumi boot. I don't know. Something like that.
And then, but in all of the features and good things going on, we do need to talk about something interesting happening with Google accounts and online accounts in OTA 12.
Oh, yeah.
To anyone who currently is using Google Sync on Ubuntu Touch, it's looking more like we may need to deprecate and remove the feature for OTA 12, which is unfortunate because it does both contacts and calendar sync, and there isn't a good solution for contact sync yet outside of it. But it appears that Google says it's for security, that you're not allowed to use embedded browser frameworks like Qt Web Engine to sign in to a Google account anymore. You need to use a different method of signing in that involves you sending the user to their browser where they sign into Google, which conveniently signs them into Google with the browser and allows them to backdate all of the browsing history from that browser, but we're not going to talk about that. And then the browser needs to send back to the app. So that is a different way of signing in than we're currently able to do. And without some changes coming into place, it's not looking like we're going to be able to have that working in time for OTA 12. And that seems to be a problem with the entire online account system. I'm not sure, but maybe we can get solved. It's looking like no, so I'd like to prepare everyone for that eventuality so far.
So if anyone has more knowledge on the Google side of login, maybe you could help out with this. And please note, this is not our fault. This is just Google being Google.
It's our fault for being slow on it, but I mean, we had other things to worry about.
Well, the thing is that every other company seems to support this, that support OAuth, but not Google. So I don't know. But if someone has more knowledge on the Google login side and OAuth of Google, please share your ideas.
Mm-hmm. The component that does that is online accounts and the Qt front end to online account service. And there's actually documentation on all of those things at docs.ubports.com. In the system development section, there's a guide on developing the online accounts and calendar sync features, which will give you kind of the landmarks in that whole system. Online accounts is a free desktop project, so we're not the only ones working on that.
Mm-hmm.
Marius, let's talk a little bit about OTA 12, the good parts.
So, OTA 12 is finally going to RC. This is something we have been waiting on for a long time. And OTA 12 is finally come to a point where there is no more outstanding critical devil bugs. And this is especially nice to get it into RC, so we get more testers, more eyes on it, and hopefully not too much.
Find more bugs.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the idea. But we hope we don't find too many. I think that's the TLDR. But and I expect that to come up really soon. I hope to get it done before FOSDEM, but no promises. And yeah, it's just amazing to see how much work has gone into OTA 12, and now it's finally here. We've been talking about it since last year, which sounds a long time ago, but
yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
And finally, everybody in RC can enjoy the new experience with the app drawer and lots of other goodies and the new gradients for the colors with more contrast and. You don't see, what I want to say is you don't see how much we changed under the hood, but it's really tons and tons of code. And that's why it took so long. And yeah, it will be a really exciting OTA for us. And hopefully for all the users too, because it marks also the point where we started to work for the PinePhone, for the non-Android phones, to get everything ready for that. And there's a lot going on with that in parallel. And yeah, I think the changes are sometimes subtle, but they were necessary and took some time. So for the end users, while you would think, why it took so long, just update to latest code. No, it's not that easy. So thanks for your patience and see you soon in the RC channel. Soonish TM.
Soonish TM, yes.
And we don't make any promise or any dates now because our lawyers don't want it.
Sure.
Do we have lawyers?
I hope so.
There is one other thing coming up soon, TM, though, Florian.
Oh, yes. Soonish TM, I want to sneak in again a call for testers because I did it on the forum and it didn't work that well. I'm also porting in my free time, as Marius would say, in what I'm doing in my free time, trying to port a few devices. And as everybody knows, I'm playing with the Samsung S3 Neo device for a long time because it was on the Q&A at least 3 times already. So now it's the 4th time. This port is going to be finished, except the camera, everything is working. If anybody wants a cheap small device for quickly testing out Ubuntu Touch, or give it to a friend or lend it to mom or so, then you can get those things in Europe at least, starting from 25 euros. It's really, really cheap. Maybe not mint condition, of course, but acceptable. And then you can flash Ubuntu Touch on it. And I'm looking for alpha and beta testers in the forum. In the device section, there is a link to my thread. So go there and sign up and buy a device.
They are pretty cheap old things, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If you can get them.
Yeah, if you can get them. And that's also because I was so sad about my destroy of the Nexus 6P, but there will be a new one. So my other port will be on the next Q&A probably, or on FOSDEM. Let's see. Good, that's it. Thank you, guys.
Didn't you also, you've been working on that thing since before I joined the community, I think?
That's not really 100% true. It was in a Samsung S3 without Neo, which is the old version, and I retired it partially because it was already in a bad condition when I received it, and the crack got bigger on the crack on the screen. The second thing is it's kernel 3.0, and everybody told me, no, don't do kernel 3.0 device, give up on that, it doesn't pay off. And I said, yeah, I can understand. But I tried to boot it last 2 weeks or so because it was lying around here, and then sure, it showed a white screen, scrambled color dots whatsoever, and then it turned off, and since then it didn't turn on again. So I think it is now completely broken.
Goodbye, human. Thank you.
Yeah, the battery wasn't inside. I don't know what happened. It was lying there for 2 years, and now I tried to start it up. Probably capacitors broke, or I don't know. It was too much. Yeah. So I got rid of the Samsung S3. Unfortunately, that's not a porting target, not even for Halium 5.1. I think it's not possible. Yeah.
Oh, whoops. Okay. We could have done this earlier, but we'll do it now. The PinePhone has a repository for issue tracking and project management on GitLab. So you can find that at, I'm going to put that in live chat because I'm smart. Paul, that was the Samsung Galaxy S3 Neo. There we go. So it's in the community port section, and it's all about how to install Ubuntu Touch on the PinePhone, how it's built, how the repository does its thing, how we do things with the repository, whatever, and how you can help to make it better. So we'd love to have your input on everything that you find that works or doesn't work. The list of things that don't work is longer, for sure, for now, but we'd love to hear from you on that. And if you... it behaves much more like a Linux desktop than one of our libhybris phones. Not exactly, but much more like. So if you have done like driver stuff or messing with hooking up sensors and front end stuff, it's a good place to get in if you've got a Braveheart PinePhone. So
also,
love to hear from you.
Also, if you would like to mess with Mesa, which is my favorite sentence to say.
If you have the Lima kernel DRM driver as well as Mesa drivers are getting better all the time. And they need a lot of help, including with tracing issues. So if you know how to use API trace for OpenGL, this is in the weeds, but it's a pretty cool way to... it watches all the calls that an OpenGL program does, and then it can replay them for the people on the other side so that they can see what the bug is actually being caused by. I'm sorry, I just think it's really cool.
It is cool.
It is cool. Oh, hot off the press, straight from Alfred. The QML Creator app has just been updated. This is a way to do QML right on your device. So you can develop prototypes for your app straight from your phone, for your phone, on your phone. Yeah.
In your phone.
In your phone.
With your phone.
Can Android do that?
In the computer. Yeah.
Can Android do that?
No. Maybe?
Exactly.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
So
it
if
can, I
you
don't
would
know.
like to create QML on your phone, maybe just to play around with it, QML Creator is a great app. You can find it on the Open Store as QML Creator. Just updated today.
Ooh.
Take a breath, take a breather, because it's time to thank our sponsors. So thank you to everyone who sponsors us and helps us create Ubuntu Touch. You can find all of them at ubports.com/sponsors, but I'd like to give a special shout out to Smooze, Private Internet Access, DigitalOcean, and Packet.net for supporting our infrastructure, making it possible for us to actually build this stuff in the cloud, including with a 96-core ARM server. That's really awesome from Packet and the Works on ARM project. I'd also like to thank our community sponsors on Patreon, including George Toma, Darko Balka, Thoralf San, Laurentine Tillman, Milan Ilev, Scott Marley, Renat Merkelev, Morgan McMillan, Sergio Shvetsov, and Yogesh Patad. If I've missed anyone, I'm sorry. We'll get this list updated soon. But if you'd like to join them and have me mispronounce your name as well, you can head over to ubports.com/donate, or more specifically, patreon.com/ubports, and choose the community sponsor level. We'd really appreciate it because you're making it possible for us to make Ubuntu Touch, and we love doing it. So, thank you again.
Well spoken.
Let's head into some questions. So we take these questions from our YouTube live chat as well as our Telegram and Matrix rooms, and you can get to any of those. No, we take the questions from the forum as well, and you can get to that at forums.ubports.com. The post for asking questions is posted around Monday of the week before the Q&A. So head over there. You can get your questions in before anyone else does, and you get first dibs on our time answering your questions. So we begin this week with Kuji, who has a bit of a statement and a bit of a question. That was a dog. I'm sure you heard it. The Devil channel is coming along well with the new Unity 8 and Mir. Congratulations! These were part of Canonical's previous unfinished work from years ago now. There was also work done for multi-display support, which I'm very excited about. Aside from these, are there any other unfinished Canonical projects that you're going to be working on in the future to integrate into Ubuntu Touch? If there isn't anything else, or how are you going to plan for future design and big features? It's almost like we'll be on our own now.
Well, so I will first deconstruct this from. So the multi-display support is still not going to be in OTA 12. That's still going to hang on to some releases later. It probably will release on desktop first just to test it and stuff. Since it is more or less made for desktop at this point, it wasn't really designed with phones. Well, it maybe was, but it wasn't really tested on phones. So it was really broke-ish on phones.
Right. What has happened, though, is second screen support, which is plugging in your device to an external display. And
yes.
that'll be working better than it did in prior revisions.
Yes. So that's a different. The multi-screen graph means that you can have as many screens as you want, while the second screen only applies to one extra screen on your Nexus 5, for example, or any other device. So
or
that
a
was
wireless display with a Microsoft display adapter.
Yeah. So this was a special code handled for that use case. But the multi-screen support will come, and it is really cool, but not this release. And also, it won't really be useful for phones at first, since there's no extra functionality on it for phones. But for desktop, it's where that will shine at first. And then moving on to the next question. These are all part that Canonical started, but never finished. So there's a lot of missing fruits in the tree that needs to be implemented. Add that to one of my phrases.
I mean, that one worked better than ice for the blind. So okay.
Yeah. Don't bring that back up.
Eh.
But yeah, there was a lot of missing pieces in the code that Canonical had, and many of them were completely unusable, as it was dropped while the development was going on. So a lot of work has gone into finishing that work. It's also why it had taken so long for this release to come up. It's because there has been a lot of work done. And same goes for the multi-display stuff. Yes, there is stuff working, but it's still missing a lot of stuff for it to be anywhere near a stable release.
There are, however, going for the future and other things that we're going to continue doing, it's going to be things that are created by the community. I mean, Simon in live chat just said, I'm trying to make a voice assistant for UT. That sounds awesome. And that, if it comes to fruition, is going to be one of the things that is added with proper design. Speaking of proper design, this is a good time to plug. Cybersheep has been working on creating and updating old documentation from Canonical that specifies our human interface guidelines. So how things are designed for Ubuntu Touch. So that'll be one of those living documents that helps us guide ourselves in the future toward designing features that work correctly and function with the rest of the system. And I mean, there's plenty of places to go for future things. And I'm sure if we stayed here for too long, we would list all of them. I mean, there's new location services, there's new sensors, there's
Bluetooth, network manager,
a lot of things to do.
NFC.
Having more things to do is not the problem.
No.
But yeah, it'll feel a little bit more like we're on our own, and that'll be awesome.
I think that's really actually pretty good, because sometimes picking up someone else's code might be even harder than making it yourself. This is something I have figured out the hard way by going through all this, because you don't know the decision of what that commit did and why that commit did the thing that commit did, and stuff like this. And it has been really, really helpful to have all these changes for Canonical, because there was so much, but it also had taken time to finish them. So at one point,
they do this?
Yeah, exactly. Why did the developer do this? And if you know anything about using Bizarre, nothing is really committed with a long commit message. I'm not sure if that's because of Bizarre or just Launchpad.
I think it's just the way that they are doing their reviews and stuff. It's really weird, but yeah.
Because that's why you call it Bizarre, not Bazaar.
Bizarre. Yes, Bizarre. So that's exactly the thing, because they had a merge request system where there is where they put the long messages, but they are so hard to find and yada yada yada. And then Launchpad crashes. So yeah,
it's an exciting time.
It's an exciting time, and I think I think they will be really, really, really good.
And
also,
Florian, can you hit the next one?
Sure. So, but Marius, you're finished already?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, someone in live chat said, Paul from live chat says, "I hate secondhand code." I agree.
Well,
at the same time, it is a mobile operating system that works and has worked since we picked it up.
No.
So
What I mean, I love secondhand code, but I hate secondhand code that doesn't have a good commit matches. So we.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So the code itself is fine.
Yeah. Also, Gizmo Chicken. I'm not all clear what Canonical is planning for the Anbox Cloud project, but if the project aims to offer a way to run some Android apps in the cloud rather than directly on a Linux device, the project seems like a good thing for Ubuntu Touch. Your initial thoughts on Anbox Cloud project? Oh, well, that was an interesting announcement.
Yeah. And everyone on the internet just kind of went, huh? All collectively.
Yeah.
The director of the project is the one who created Anbox, and he's worked at Canonical for a while. So obviously he was able to make the pitch that this is what we need to do, and someone must be using it at this point. Anbox Cloud is a way to use Lexi containers and Anbox together to run Android apps on a private or public cloud and stream them to the device. One of the stated goals they've said is game streaming. So you write your apps for Android and then you can stream them to devices, which is interesting. They specifically mentioned 5G networks, so I don't think it's going to happen over good old LTE, maybe Wi-Fi at best. But it seems like an interesting project. I don't believe the Anbox that they're using is exactly what we can use in Ubuntu Touch. It's not the same on the server and the client side. So unless you're streaming apps, it might not exactly help. But if there is a public option where you can run like run WhatsApp, and then it'll host the WhatsApp web client for you, that might work. Or other things like that.
Actually, also when it's a low, not so graphic intense app like Anbox would be, I think streaming would be
WhatsApp.
Good. I mean, the point is it possible for us to have a streaming client that would connect to that thingy? And can you set it up on your home server, for example, easily? What are the requirements there? Can you put it on, I don't know, a Nextcloud box or something like that, where you have additional capacity? Will Canonical provide something for private people, or is this something only for enterprises? Or it's not clear yet to me.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a lot of options, but the basic question is, we would need a streaming client that would connect to that cloud, and then it doesn't matter which version of Anbox they use, as long as it's a working version that has some basics there, and it could be something that's interesting for us.
So
for the future.
I think what I'm looking at this in a different way is that this will help improve Anbox in the future. I'm instead of thinking it as something, because when people hear the streaming of apps and stuff like that, it might not be that realistic on a phone just yet, because not everyone has a good connection where they are, and if they fall down to Edge, for example, the old protocol, and all of a sudden they can stream this app and yada yada yada. So I look at this more as an overall improvement of Anbox, and where we will get Anbox working really nice for us. And Dalton, why are you laughing?
As Merkid3K in live chat said, its future is cloudy at this point. But it should help for client-side Anbox, so that'll be good.
Yeah. Don't read live chat.
I need to. Moving on to Dom UBPKM's question. Will the UBports installer allow the installation of other operating systems than Ubuntu Touch at a later date? Because when you start the installer and then plug in your phone, it asks, which operating system do you want to install? Yes, that's going to happen. Or at least it can happen. I'm going to take you on a bit of a trip, everyone. Way back in the day, when Ubuntu Touch was still Ubuntu Phone and Ubuntu Tablet, or just Ubuntu, it was Canonical's project. There was a small community project called Magic Device Tool. It was written by Marius Quebec, then of UbuntuFun.de, and now of NerdZoom.de. Plug. Head over there if you want some content in German and you're a nerd, or like nerdy content in German. Magic Device Tool was a way to install Ubuntu Touch, or at the time CyanogenMod, rest in peace, or Sailfish on a few different devices or other support operating systems. And it would do it automatically. It was a bash script that would go through, detect what you were using, and do all the installation steps for you. After Canonical dropped the Ubuntu phone project, and we picked it up, Marius unfortunately ran out of time for the project, had to move on to other things. And at that time, we only had Ubuntu Device Flash to install Ubuntu Touch. So we went from a really nice script to one that was kind of arcane, a little bit harder to use, and only really worked well on Ubuntu, which wasn't ideal. And then Marius wrote the first version of the UBports installer, which was a little rough, but it was able to install Ubuntu Touch on our supported devices. It was able to upgrade Ubuntu Touch on our older devices, and it was written in Electron so other people could get started in it really, really easily.
And people yell at me for using Electron.
They can get over it. In time, Jan has picked up the project more, and he's kind of been the driving force behind it now, Neo the Third. And he has now made a configuration file system. So the installer is just a configurable kind of module-based script runner that runs the script specified by the porter to install Ubuntu Touch on the device. So, for example, for the Nexus 5, it's really simple. It just downloads all the files, pushes them onto the cache partition, and tells the recovery, do this. Whereas with the Xperia X, it's a little bit more complicated. And the system being modular and configurable now means that it can install other operating systems. It's been tested with Lineage OS and with Asteroid OS on smartwatches. So it is able to do all of those things with ADB and fastboot. Because all of them are just flash with ADB and fastboot, but it can do custom commands.
And just let me make a short interruption. It will also be possible for Samsung devices with Heimdall, because I'm working with Jan on that one. And that's also one of the reasons why I'm doing this strange port, because I'm doing it for verification and for other benefits, not just for an old crappy device. So yes, also different kinds of flash modes or things can be attached into the installer in the future. Mm-hmm. It's not only,
and there's going to need to be new flash modes for, say, the PinePhone.
Yes.
Because that's not currently supported by the installer, and it doesn't use a method that could be supported by the installer. It doesn't use fastboot or ADB. It can use fastboot, but you have to get an SD card into it first. But you have to get an environment that supports it.
But I still think the feedback on the installer is so great that we should give this experience also to PinePhone users in the future, if it's end users especially. Because, of course, now you just need to insert an SD card, which is basically low tech. But the problem is you need first to put the files there, and some things could go wrong and things. So the installer has a convenience of it. I do this job for you. You don't have to worry about downloading the latest images, downloading device adoptions, and so on. So, yeah.
Right. And that's the dream for other operating systems as well, where if Lineage OS wanted to get in on at the moment, we aren't able to add that support because we would need to rehost the files, which we don't exactly want to do. But with proper support, it can install the newest Lineage OS onto a Nexus 5 or 5X or whatever it may be. It is able to do all of those things. And if anyone's listening from any of those communities, at Neo the Third on Telegram, he is the driving force behind the UBports installer. Jan has worked on these things. We know that it works, and we'd love to see your operating system in the installer as well.
Yeah, that would be cool if the UBports installer installs Lineage just automatically. You don't need to download any zip file, no custom recovery installation. It will tell you how to unlock your bootloader and these things. So It would lower the barrier for people that want to try out something on Android, but they don't want to go through the flashing process, maybe. And that could be a lot of users. Thanks for the question. That was a really good one.
Hit it, Marius.
Yes. Next one.
Yes.
Lionel B.
I put you on
Lionel
the
B.
spot.
What are the technical obstacles for providing an app voice and voice calling in Ubuntu Touch?
So voice
Well-
and video calling is all something that's technically possible. It's just that the standard ways that people would do it don't work in Ubuntu Touch yet. So the easy solution for voice and video calling on the web is WebRTC. And for example, we're using WebRTC to do this stream right now, which is just web real-time chat. It sends audio and video over the internet to all the connected users. And most solutions you'll find nowadays for video conferencing use that. That doesn't currently work on it works in Qt Web Engine for Ubuntu Touch. You're able to do audio calling only. It's not able to connect to the cameras yet through the Qt multimedia layer. However, if an app was written to use Qt multimedia, which is the native camera stack, it would be able to get video frames and audio from the cameras on the device, and then it'd be able to send those to whichever other devices or things were connected. The problem is, since that is another step for people, no one's done it yet. More people would just like to use the existing standard WebRTC, which makes sense.
So actually, fun fact about that is that the old demo I have a while back for UMatrix that had the voice calling and stuff like that and video calling on the UMatrix used WebRTC, but that used the old Oxide engine.
Right. Right, which still supported the camera correctly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe 2 words from Teleport side from us, because we get a lot of questions. When will Teleport support calls? And these are currently would be only voice only calls. So we're not talking about video calls. The first step would be to go into voice calls. I think the technical limitations there are very small, because that should work. We have also the support from the library from Telegram that would do some heavy lifting for us. It needs a few codec installs and some things that are not on the image yet. So basically, that's solvable. The only thing that's really not so nice is we cannot receive calls as the app is not running in the background. So we have no way of waking up people that don't have their app focused. They would just receive then a notification, you have a missed call. Which is something that would kind of work, but it's really a bad user experience. So I don't know how this will work out. So that is a technical obstacle that we're currently not easily going to tackle. And
you do have the push service and the push helper, though. So
yeah.
With a few changes in UID8, you would be able to make a notification that says, hey, call incoming. Would you like to start teleports? Now, you have like 20 seconds left. Hurry.
It's also not that easy, because the problem for that to work means your TD-lib instance must run in the background fully. And it allows only one instance to access the database, which makes sense, because otherwise it would mess up. So the thing is, it would have to listen all the time for incoming calls and then do something. And yes, we have probably to go the way that we had in Deco 2 also, that there is a background service that can handle things, and then a front end that would be only used as an app. And the backend would then be able to handle incoming calls and wake up somehow the device to show a screen. But it's not that easy, because we don't also have the integration for incoming calls, like show a UI component, accept, reject, unlock the device, go to the app. The app is only allowed to present one special screen when there is a call. The rest needs to be locked, like the dialer is doing now. There are a few things.
It all exists. It just needs to be hooked up in that side.
So if both parties are online, if you can agree for something, it would be easily possible to have a voice call in teleports. But it's not going to happen like with a normal phone, that you just get a call and there is a UI coming up, and instead of the dialer will come from the lock screen, it would be then teleports. That's not going to happen easily.
So
we're gonna have to talk more about that, I think, Florian.
So Canonical had a plan back to integrate everything into the messaging system.
Oh, that's right.
No.
So it would be cool to actually have that. Because
I hate to say it, but we have actually removed some of that code now. So it's gone the other way. I don't think we're going to be able to do that.
well, no, we actually have added a lot of it too, because we are imported.
Remember
a lot
Pigeon
of
and
new stuff.
libpurple, though? I mean...
But those are just one set of it.
yeah.
The whole telephony stack, or telephony, whatever it's called, is pretty big.
Yeah. Side note, we have just not so much time, but there are also questions when we will support voice over LTE. I was looking into that a bit. I try still to understand what's going on, but it seems that all the Volte stuff is vendor extensions to the wonderful Real Daemon, totally undocumented, totally closed source. On top of that, some mysterious certification needs. I'm not quite sure we will be able to have Volte soon. So sorry for the guys in India, especially. Their carriers all switching to Volte now. They cannot do any calls. That's a problem, but we cannot solve it easily.
So
Yep, and there is support in upstream of Phono, which needs to be reconciled
not sure
with
about
ours in MediaTek, and the PinePhone should also support voice over LTE. It should, with a few commands, it should be able to hook that up by itself.
Well, yes and
Yes,
no.
it can.
As I said, it's a little bit difficult, but you need to run commands to the modem. On the PinePhone, it should be easier, but we on the Android side, we are a little bit stuck with that because we cannot directly access the modem, and we don't want to.
Let's see what maybe Sailfish has some ongoing work on that. I know they have been talking about it for a while. So
yeah, but we are a little bit
Selfish
leaving
does
the
support
question
on one device at least.
Yeah, it would, but just to say, we have it on our list of things that we could work on in the future, like we said before, Bluetooth and NFC and RFC and IRC and a lot of topics, but yeah, Volte is there. Good.
That
Shall
went
we take-
off as far as it could.
Yes.
Let's
Sorry
bring it
for that.
on. Let's bring it back with Oki's questions.
Yeah.
He links a post from Pine64. It's time to give back, it's called, and asks, "Are you aware that Pine64 has offered to give communities $10 for each PinePhone sold in a batch shipping with their operating system?" Yes, this was discussed
Yes.
at FOSDEM last year, and it will probably be discussed more at FOSDEM this year. We are aware that this is happening.
Yeah.
We're aware of the terms and conditions on this one.
We are aware. We're getting
thank
our
you.
bank account ready. The money can start flowing. So buy your PinePhones now. Okay, sorry, that's too early. I will
Yeah.
do this in 2
PinePhones
months.
are
maybe.
not in stock.
speaking about the PinePhone, look,
It's PinePhone.
Ooh,
PinePhone.
it's moving.
Yeah. Well, because I'm.
It's still a
And
little
then-
bit purple on some edges, but we don't want to talk about that. Right?
So it. Massa is still a little bit.
Oops, you held the power button.
If I could avoid that, would be really nice.
While you were messing with that, his next question, comment, command, please comment on the competition between Ubuntu Touch and the other distributions on the PinePhone. We rock it, they're awful. No, not at all. That's the thing, is we are all working together to be on the same device here. It's not like we all need to beat each other into submission for this to work. In fact, we would rather have users from Android and iOS than to take users from each other. That's our target. Just like the Linux desktop should be more concerned on getting users from Windows and Mac OS than on taking users from other distributions. It's the same for us. Hey, you got the browser working.
I was actually going to try to pull up the stream while you talk.
Oh, that's going to be noisy.
Let's loop the stream into our stream. Perfect.
No,
My
I have-
ears.
I will turn off the audio.
The day the internet died. We created an endless recursion.
Wow,
are
that's
live.
me.
Yeah,
Ooh!
it's us. Well,
Oh,
now we can
hello,
see the
everyone.
Phoneception.
You can see the phone inside the phone, inside the
Oh
phone.
no.
Oh, yes.
So
Okay,
for the
that's a silly one.
competition between all of us, it's more a factor of let's get people on the PinePhone and on our operating systems, and not let's take the people who have PinePhones from the other operating systems like dirty pirates. No, it's nothing.
Yeah, so
People
it's
are
a
going to use
positive
whatever they want to
competition.
use on
Yeah.
this thing.
Positive competition means we are encouraging each other to go further and keep up the pace and help each other on this journey. And I think all the communities are very helpful and very friendly because everybody's so excited about this piece of hardware that comes now our way. If you read the PinePhone channel, it has an awesome over 670 members already. And there are so many messages, I cannot keep up reading it. There are days with 1,000 messages in my backlog already after lunch. Yeah? So most of the people are now discussing shipment details of their Braveheart edition, the first developer batch. But imagine if there are so many messages now and people already there, what will happen when this goes to public sale? This channel will explode. Yeah? And hopefully our infrastructure will not explode. So competition is good because it will keep us aware that there are so many other people that are also interested what we are doing, and they will try out this distro, that distro. They will jump around, distro hopping between
And they'll
Plasma
say what's good about each
Mobile.
one so that we can all learn.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
And
that's the
also
thing. We can compare it better. We can compare what we have and what others have done. Yeah.
So I see now Martin, a post-market OS developer, saying that post-market OS is the best option, of course, and I might
Obviously.
agree with that when you have Unity 8 running on that. I might
They're
agree.
trying. Have you seen all the PRs going in for
I
upgrading
have,
to
I have.
versions and working with? Oh my gosh.
Luca has done amazing work, and I thank him a lot for all the work he has done for that.
All right. And then Oki's last question. Will Ubuntu Touch be the default operating system on the PinePhone? All right, so this is more stuff that's in that it's time to give back post, which outlines how batches of the PinePhone are going to work and how the support is going to go to other communities for those batches. So at least right now, the plan is every batch of the PinePhone is going to include a default operating system. And the first one, which can go on sale as early as March and will then take about 2 months to deliver after that, but will go on sale when the first daily driver ready operating system is available, or at least the first most ready. We all agree that we should ship with it. When that happens, it'll go up for sale with that operating system's image pre-installed and possibly a special branding or something, different color maybe, we're not sure yet, of case. So something will be different about each one to show your support for whichever operating system is going to be on the phone. We know that we can only do one of these at once because of the size of Pine64 and the shipping team. But when that happens, Pine64 will donate $10 back to the project that you're buying the batch from or for. And basically that'll be a donation on your behalf. It's built into the cost of the phone. It'll be about $10, depending on how things shake out.
So in theory, you could donate to all projects by buying all the different batches.
You could, but why? And of
Ending
course,
up with
whichever one
7
you get, you will
phones.
be able to install any operating system you like on the device. So
Yeah.
if you get the post-market OS one, you try it out, you want to try something different, you want to try Manjaro ARM, you can do that. They'll all be the same hardware, just maybe
Or
branded
UBports.
differently. I know, but I you know the
You don't wanna-
connotation of saying if you don't like theirs, you should come to us. I
don't
just
wanna-
said that we don't want to do that.
You don't want to toot your own horn.
Yeah.
True. But it's the Ubuntu Touch Q&A, so we kind of are tooting our own horn.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, that Ubuntu Touch will be the default OS on some PinePhones. Is the best way to say it.
But this is also TLDR, so to be...
Yeah. You should go and see that post on the Pine64 blog. It's time to start giving back for more details.
Why is there so many post-macOS developers in the
chat? We're being rated.
We're going to be rated by post-macOS. Hello, post-macOS. We love you.
Thank you for rating us.
See you at FOSDEM, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
And then Florian, one last question.
Sure. Will Meizu Pro 5 and Nexus 4 use Halium in the future? So this guy probably has two of them. Your 1196. Thanks for having two phones, hopefully. Or it's two people behind you. We don't know. But...
Meizu Pro 5 and Nexus 4 both use not very old, but Canonical created ports for the libhybris Android container. For the Nexus 4, we have most of the source, and it'll be available. So it's been cloned, but it's Android 4.4, and we'd have to basically redo all the work on that one. And the Pro 5 is a port that is almost entirely closed source. It is highly unlikely that we will be able to bring these devices up to a newer version of Halium or whatever else may need to be. So, for that question, probably not. No, the Meizu Pro 5 and Nexus 4 will probably not use any version of Halium in the future. That does mean that at some point we need to drop these devices, and we don't know when that'll be yet. But as soon as we know, of course, we will let all of you know. And we know that at least we can support these things through the end of the 1604 life cycle, which is about a year now.
Also, we are trying now to step up the other three core devices, Nexus 5, Fairphone 2, and OnePlus One, to Halium 7.1.
Mm-hmm.
That's working out pretty well for Fairphone 2 and Nexus 5. We already have ongoing ports. OnePlus, nobody there to start yet, at least not me, because it's my daily driver. But Rajanan is working on the Fairphone 2 and also fixing a lot of things thereby for other porters for other porters and for common problems that we faced in the 5.1 ports. So all these three ports will be much more stable afterwards, hopefully, without too much hacking. And after we have done that and we got enough information how to proceed, we will see what we can do for other devices, I think. But yeah, the old ones, unfortunately, are old. And I think we did a great job of keeping them alive so far. But we cannot keep up the support forever, that's clear.
We'll have to see. Yep. Someone asked a question going back a topic about the PinePhone, and then we'll be about done. Or the PineTab. This device does not, I believe, have the built-in profit margin that the PinePhone does, and therefore is not able to be a part of that like OS batches program. What's more likely is that it'll be sold with whatever comes up first as a ready operating system for it, and then you can install whatever else you want on it. Of course, we'd love for that to be us, but not many of us got the PineTab, and by that I mean I have the only one. I'm sorry, everyone. I have other things that I have to do as well. I love this thing, but I've got a lot of stuff to do.
But the thing with that is that not many got it at all, even outside of
because the batch was a little bit messed up. So
they also, most of them got stopped in customs and got sent back, and it was a mess.
Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll be seeing more of those at FOSDEM. Well, I know we'll be seeing some at least one at FOSDEM. That'll be the correct batch with the correct parts and everything. So we'll see that there. Here it is, running Ubuntu Touch. It's got a little bit of a bug on the... This has been fixed. Well, is going to be fixed, but you can see the rounded edges aren't quite right. But it runs Ubuntu Touch. It's got 1 gig of RAM, so it tends to have some trouble. The real one is supposed to have 2 gigs of RAM. That was one of the main problems with this batch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a PineTab. It's an A64 tablet. The good thing is that a lot of the stuff that we're doing on the PinePhone also helps with this guy because they use the same system on a chip. I think we've said this before, but it's worth reiterating. We are going to
Oh
be
man,
on
live
these
chat
devices
today.
eventually, at least. All right. So, thank you, everyone, for watching this episode or listening. We know we have a lot of listeners out there, and thank you as well. The Ubuntu Touch Q&A. This has been episode 68, and I love that we have so many people here to watch today. 73. I think that might be one of our largest streams ever. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Because I
Today has
posted
been-
the link into the PinePhone group. Hello, PinePhoners. You can hear us?
That's why there's so
Yeah.
many post-market OS people in here.
Yeah, maybe. And while the people on PinePhone might only hear audio now, and there will be a textual transcription. If you cannot hear audio on your distro now, yeah.
Not a transcription, but a notes.
Yeah.
There's distinct difference. But the fun does not stop here at the end of this show because the community keeps on going. We have outreach on all types of social networks, both privacy respecting and helping some other people come along the way to privacy respecting stuff. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, PixelFed, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Instagram. We also have a news channel on Telegram and Matrix. So if you just want news delivered straight to your chat client, you can do that at either of those. Oh, and we have a diaspora. Don't forget about that. If you'd like to chat with us, you can find us on Matrix or Telegram. It's #ubports:/matrix.org or Telegram @UBports. We're also at UBports on most of those other networks.
And also RSC on Freenode.
#UBports on Freenode. Currently not bridged to Telegram, but we're sitting there. Thank you, everyone, again. Be sure to check out some of our other places. All the links are down in the description. If you like the video, you can like it. If you're not and you're on like a podcast player, I think you can give a review. That'd be awesome too. Thanks. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. We don't exactly know what it'll be yet, but it's going to be awesome. So thanks, everyone. And
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Bye.